The end. Do any of you wonder about something silly like that? Do you have any? Tell me one of your wonder questions. Yes, Yrsha.
I wonder how the earth doesn't fall.
How does the earth not fall? That's a good one. That's a good one. Anyone else? Yeah.
Is fire alive? And it is alive.
Is fire alive? Yeah. Did you have one, Gwen? It's just the question's just in your head? No. Thank you for sharing all your wonderful questions. Let us now sing our children out.
We are the Unitarian Universalist Church of Huntsville, a proudly inclusive spiritual community. Together, we build a broader search for meaning, a bolder form of compassion, and a braver voice for justice. At this time, we invite you to support our mission with a monetary contribution. You may donate online using the QR code in your order of service, or you may put cash or check in the offering baskets. Completed Circle of Candles cards should also be placed in the offering baskets. You are invited to come forward during this time and quietly drop a stone in the bowl of water here next to the ramp in honor or memory of what you hold in your heart. With gratitude, we now receive the offering.
Spirit of life, Spirit of love, Spirit all around us and within us. We enter this time of prayer and intention. We hold those around us. We lift up Don Whitehead and his family. He's entered hospice, and they're hoping to get to say goodbye or see you later. We hold that up for you. We lift up our colleagues that gathered in Selma, that are working tirelessly to continue to fight for voting rights. We lift up everyone who's been impacted by the ongoing wars around the world, the ongoing conflicts here at home. We lift up everyone that's been impacted by the attack on our voting rights, by the attacks on women, people of color. We lift everyone up. We hold them. We lift up any other joy or sorrow that's lingering in this room, any bit of happiness, any bit of peace, any bit of sorrow. We lift that up. Let us be moved in compassion for all that has been shared into this beloved community, and for all that will remain silent, unspoken in our hearts. Let us say, blessed be and amen. Will you now join me in singing our responsive music, number 1009, Meditation on Breathing.
When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love.
Thank you. Our reading is an excerpt from Pale Blue Dot by Carl Sagan. Look at that dot. That's here. That's home. That's us. On it, everyone you love, everyone you know, everyone you've ever heard of, every human being who ever was, lived out their lives, the aggregate of our joy and suffering, thousands of confident religious ideologies and economic doctrines, every hunter and forager, every hero and coward, every creator and destroyer of civilizations, every king and peasant, every teacher of morals, every corrupt politician, every superstar, every supreme leader, every saint and sinner in the history of our species live there, on a mote of dust suspended in a sunbeam. Our posturings, our imagined self-importance, the delusion that we have some privileged position in the universe are challenged by this point of pale light. Our planet is a lonely speck in the great enveloping cosmic dark. In our obscurity, in all this vastness, there is no hint that help will come elsewhere to save us. The earth is the only world known so far to harbor life. There is nowhere else, at least in the near future, to which our species could migrate. Visit, yes. Settle, not yet. Like it or not, for the moment, Earth is where we make our stand. It has been said that astronomy is humbling and character-building experience. This is perhaps no better demonstrated of the folly of human conceits than this distant image of our tiny world. To cherish the pale blue dot, the only home we've ever known. Something happened when he saw that dot. Something amazing. A witness to something so far in the distance, so small, yet something we hold so dear. I'm curious, has anybody ever had a moment like that, where you saw something so amazing, so breathtaking, that you just had to stop and ponder the wonder of it all? You just had to take it in. I see a hand back there. Yeah, you can raise your hand. So I've had many moments like this, so I had to kind of pick one that I think was probably one of my first real moments. It's been about 15 years, and I lived in Florida, and my daughter at the time was taking a photography class, and her assignment was to go take nature photos. So we headed down to the Indian River Lagoon, which was right down the street from where we lived, and we were going to take some sunset photos against the lagoon. And we were there. I just went along for moral support. And we stood there, and she was taking pictures with her camera, and I had my cell phone, and something amazing happened. This one lone dolphin came along, and he was swimming in circles. He was just swimming around, and then he started doing some light jumps, and then he started doing some backflips, and it felt like he was there performing for us. It was just us. We were just standing there taking our pictures. We got very few pictures of this, by the way, because I don't know if you've tried to predict when a dolphin will jump, but yeah, it's not easy. So I think I have one where he's just cresting out. But it was like he was putting on this show. And all these swimming in circles and jumping up, and this went on for about 20 minutes. And all we could really do after we took our pictures was just kind of stand there. We just stood there and we watched him in awe. And we just reflected on how this was happening to us, how this moment came to be, how this one dolphin just decided that he was going to put a show on for us. And so I've always looked for these moments. I've always tried to find awe and wonder. I've always been very curious about the world, how things work, where we're going, where we came from. Sometimes a little too much, when you can't sleep at night, get your brain going. Yeah, somebody's laughing because you're like, what is nothing? Nothing is everything. Yeah. So you got to turn that off sometimes so you can get some rest. But I've always found it so fascinating, such a mystery. Like, if you look at everything out there, every flower that grows, every person you see, everything around us, it's a miracle. I'm standing here. I'm in a church that someone built. We drove cars. The food we eat, everything is fascinating. When I'm in a plane, I'm always like, I'm in a tube with 200 other people flying above the earth. Like, it just, and then I'm like, no. Lock that out, because then it gets to be too much sometimes. And so we have these emotions, and we've pondered them, this curiosity, awe, and wonder, these three emotions. And they've been pondered and explored in depth, mostly by poets and theologians, philosophers, students, and teachers. And they've been talked about for many centuries. We can look at that in writings and through art. We can see that people have really explored the wonder of this earth. But something is changing. Science has started to take notice. They're starting to study the effect effects of these emotions on us, how they affect us emotionally and physically. And some of the research that's coming out that backs it up is really fascinating. So let's just talk a little bit about like what is curiosity, what is wonder, what is awe. Curiosity can be described in many ways. The definition that I like is it's an inherent drive to explore and learn. It's something that fuels our desire to understand the world around us. Curiosity is how we have created so much. Thinking about planes, the Wright brothers looked up one day and said, wow, look at those birds. Can we do that? And they figured it out. And now, like I said, we're in those planes. So they essentially gave us wings. And that seemed impossible. And then what about wonder and awe? So a lot of times they're used interchangeably, but there is a difference. Wonder emerges from curiosity, and curiosity, wonder, emerges from wonder. So they kind of are back and forth with each other. You see something and you think, I wonder how that works. And then you're curious and it leads you to explore. So there's this sense of looking and questioning. And as we wonder, then our curiosity kicks in. But then there's awe. We're going to talk a lot about awe. Awe is when we witness something that transcends our understanding. It's something mysterious, something so vast that it creates a sense of smallness in us. It leads us to ask questions, to dive deeper, but it also brings us a kind of peace, a knowing. That moment of awe, when you see something larger than yourself, something that's mildly terrifying, but also comforting. Say when we stand out looking at the ocean, and there's so much, and then there's so much more. Or when you look at the sky, and you understand that's just a fraction of what there is. It kind of boggles our minds. And that mind-boggling is where awe happens, because we realize that there are things we may never fully understand. Those moments, they invite us to release our need to understand. They release our need to be in control. And just in that moment, we lean into the feelings of greatness that extends beyond ourselves, beyond our tiny universe, beyond that pale blue dot. And like historically, curiosity, wonder, they show up in the arts. You see them like when you read a great book or a poem or look at a magical painting or music. And research is reflecting back what poets and those who look at paint has known. It has a positive effect on our brains, has a positive effect on our mental health and our physical health. UC Berkeley found that awe reduces, we're gonna get a little technical, activity in the default mode network. And this is the technical term for the area of our brains where we focus on ourselves. So this is where we spend a lot of time ruminating, where we tend to wander, we can get stuck in ourselves, and our focus is really self-centered. And what they've found is awe quiets that. That sense of self shrinks. Our problems become smaller. The things happening around us don't seem as overwhelming. And now, neuroscientists have studied our brain while experiencing awe. So they've looked at it and they've found when we experience awe, our brains literally light up. There's areas that light up. So one area that is involved is the area that involves planning, focus, decision making, the one that controls our executive function. And it also plays a role in emotional regulation and cognitive function. So when you're experiencing awe, those areas are lighting up and they're working together to help you become more emotionally regulated and increase your cognitive ability. And then another area that lights up is the insula. This is the part of the brain that's linked to compassion. So it's compassion, empathy, self-awareness, cognitive functioning, and interpersonal relationships. And then it enhances our bodily awareness and our emotional experience. So when you're experiencing awe, you are growing in empathy, you are growing in compassion. Your brain is growing and lighting up. And you also get a release of dopamine. It's connecting awe to pleasure and reward and helping us feel more joy and satisfaction. So our brains light up, they expand, they process, they connect our physical sensations to our emotional experiences. And they found it increases our generosity, which I find absolutely fascinating. You create your generosity when you are connecting yourself to something larger than yourself. Also, boosts patience, win-win, enhances our well-being, improves critical thinking. And they're not sure, scientists aren't 100% sure why. They call it something they call the small self effect is their theory. And what I said before, we feel small in the presence of something vast. Our problems become smaller. We can become more compassionate, more open, more present. It shifts our focus from ourselves to the outside world, to everything. And when we realize that we are, in many ways, small in the face of something great, awe isn't just a feeling. It becomes a cognitive event. It actually reorganizes our brains in subtle but powerful ways. Curiosity, wonder, and awe, they do this and they work together. There isn't one more important than the other. They work in a loop, in tandem. You feel wonder, you feel curiosity, you feel awe. It's a continuous cycle. They've also found that it's good for our physical health. So it has shown that when we experience these emotions, our blood pressure decreases, our cortisol levels lower, and our inflammation markers are lower. They help soothe the fight or flight response, and they calm our nervous system. And studies have also shown that there are people who are more prone to experience awe, curiosity, and wonder. So we have some people that can experience it more often than others. But does it mean if you're one of the people that doesn't experience it as often, that you don't have to have awe and wonder? There are things that you can do to help cultivate those senses. So I think instinctively we turn to nature. We'll go for a walk, we'll look around. There's other things you can do. Art, so you can go to a museum and feel yourself lost in all the beauty and wonder. Music, you can just sit and appreciate a piece of music. I really enjoy when we listen to the piano. That brings me great joy, a peace, and it is awe-inspiring to know that someone can do that. It's amazing to me. You can read stories. If we read stories about human courage and brilliance and connection, it helps produce those feelings. You can explore the mysteries of the world, the universe, the pyramids, the wonders of history. We can experience awe through collective effervescence. I'm not sure if anybody's heard this term. Yeah, I saw a hand back there. But this is the feeling that you get when you're with a group of people experiencing awe together. So when you come together in a group and we're all looking at something and we experience it, you kind of get this overwhelming sense. And that has been called collective effervescence. And we feel it at church, at concerts, at games, and it's especially meaningful when you experience it with the group. It brings up joyful moments and it helps us through difficult ones. Now, one thing that awe can also offer us is peace in times of struggle. I think we all can say that we are struggling sometimes right now. It's very difficult. We don't have all the answers. There's a lot of uncertainty, but awe offers us a widening. It is a reminder that even in the midst of everything that we are carrying, we are still connected. We are connected to one another. We are connected to the world. We are connected to something larger than ourselves. And even when we're struggling, we can give ourselves those brief moments through the sunset, through a piece of music, a shared experience, to remind us that we are connected through all we are carrying. Awe does not dismiss the pain. It does not dismiss the struggle, but it is a way to gently hold it. It doesn't take it away from us. It gives it space to breathe. And sometimes that's all we need. Thank you. Please join me in our closing hymn, 1052, The Oneness of Everything.
Far beyond the grasp of to feel the pulse of life, enters my soul as a song to sing of the oneness of everything.
Let us now take a moment to extinguish our chalice with these words by Barbara Cheatham. And now we take our leave. But before we gather here again, may each of us bring happiness into another's life. May we each be surprised by the gifts that surround us. May each of us be enlivened by constant curiosity. And may we remain together in spirit till the hour we meet again.
Friends, our worship service now comes to a close. I will be at the back of the sanctuary to greet you, and you are invited to go to the fellowship hall for fellowship in conversation. For those on our live stream, thank you for being with us this morning. And now let us leave this sacred time with these parting words. Remember to keep your mind open and aware. May your heart find awe, and within you, may that awe give you peace and comfort all of your days. Amen and blessed be. Let us go out singing the rite of community. May I be a light in you on the gold card.